Today, I have got cutting-edge solutions for your most annoying problems, starting with belly fat. What if I told you that there's a new supplement that'll help you lose inches off your waist without diet and exercise? It sounds too good to be true, but it may not be. It is sweeping the country. It's sold on TV and in stores from coast to coast. And one of my favorite guests, Montel Williams, says it transformed his body. Could it be a game changer in the fight against fat? There's an ancient secret weapon against fat, and it's making a comeback. It's called safflower. It's one of the world's oldest plants, first discovered in Egypt more than 4,000 years ago. Today, you can buy safflower in many forms, from cooking oil to supplements. Some researchers claim the oil can whittle inches off your waist without any exercise by blasting stubborn belly fat and curbing your appetite. Celebrity and health advocate Montel Williams is so convinced by the power of safflower oil that he became the paid spokesperson for one product called SaffSlim. But does it work? And is it safe? Has Montel stumbled upon the belly blaster that will change your body forever? Please welcome Montel Williams.
Good to see you, my friend. Thank you. Thank you. I've been waiting to do this for about a week and a half. You don't even know this. I got to do this, really interrupt your show.
Go ahead.
I called his staff about a week and a half ago. When I saw him, I was outside of the country. I saw you on the news talking about the juices and arsenic and juices.
Oh, yeah.
And I sent his staff a note saying, my friend, please, thank you for kicking butt the way you are.
Thank you.
For making, really.
Thanks, Montel.
That's what we need in television. That right there.
I appreciate it very much.
We need that, man.
Well, following mentors' footsteps is good to learn from folks. Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
You know, we had gotten together after a prior show, and you brought to my attention this product.
Yes, sir.
And I started doing my homework on it. And I must say, at first glance, it looks too good to be true. So I'm going to ask some tough questions today.
Sure.
I want to make sure that if we're going to talk about this, we're honest about it. How did it affect your body? I mean, how many inches did you lose? How long did it take? Be specific with me.
Look, everybody knows that I started a program called Living with Montel, where if I learn something, I'm going to share it with other people. 9 months ago, I got this product, and because I read about it, and I'm going, I bought it, I started using it. I used it for 11 weeks. In 11 weeks, I lost 2 inches off my waist. I didn't change a thing in everything I do. Now, let's get this clear, because I want to be very open. I'm anal. I work out every day. You know this.
Yeah,
I changed my eating habits. So I'm already on a regimen that keeps me healthy, but this gave me that extra little boost. So I'm going, okay, it's working well. I had to travel. My schedule was crazy. The last 40 days, I've been on the road for almost 34 of those days. Yeah. I do this multiple times. So I went off of SaffSlim for about 30 days. A 30-day period of time, an inch came back on my waist. I got home, started SaffSlim again. Within 7 days, that inch was gone. And I maintained. Now, the last 40 days, I called your producer last Thursday. I've been on the end of a 45-day swing. Oh, my goodness. For only 20 of those days, I had SaffSlim. The last 22 days, I didn't. The inch came back. I've been using SaffSlim since last Thursday. I've taken that inch back off my waist. I've changed nothing else in my life. I called the president's company, and I'm going to make sure people know this. It says I'm a paid spokesperson. The ink is now just drying on my contract. I believed in this so much, I reached out to the president and said, please, I can make sure this gets in the hands of people who can use it. We need to give people that little extra boost, so please let me be a part of this, and she agreed. So it's not like somebody approached me 9 months ago and said, Montel, test this product. I tested this product, and then when I believe in it, it's just like my blender that you see. I went and created that. It's the pressure cooker.
So there's okay? What got my attention, I'm pretty blunt about this, Montel walked into my dressing room, and he took his shirt off. Now, I was thinking a lot of different thoughts. But you remember, he took his shirt off.
I pulled it up and said, hey, you got to look at this, Doc. And that was before I left on my swing. Now, I pulled my shirt up today, but, guys, I've only been back on it for 5 days. I got something.
All right. What did she say? It's all right. Come on, come on.
God. All right, you know what? You know what? Let me do this. Let me do this part. I won't pull it all the way up, but I will at least show you from a T-shirt standpoint.
Tell you what. I'll pull my shirt. You pull your shirt up.
All right.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
On 3. 1, 2. You want this? You want it, right? All right. 1, 2, 3.
All right, and wait a minute. Let's talk about this. I'm 55 years old with MS. I don't get to do the aerobics that everybody else gets to do. I have to, I mean, painstakingly have to work out every day just to be able to walk on this stage. So I need every little extra tool in my arsenal I can get. When I found out this is in GNC, in Whole Foods, in the vitamin shop, it's in places all over the country. If they validated, come on.
Have a seat now. I'm going to get concrete about how you're taking it, and then I brought in the person I trust the most in this area because she's done the research in it. A lot of the research behind this whole field, and I am fascinated by it. So this is what it looks like, right?
Yes, and this is the thing that's so crazy about it. This is a patented formula because it's so smooth. This is almost like a taste it, and you tell them what you think it tastes like.
It's creamy. It's like a popsicle.
Like a popsicle.
Yeah.
Like a sherbet popsicle.
Yeah.
Now you just go by the refrigerator. Here's what I do. When you get it, it comes with a spoon. So you're supposed to take 2 tablespoons a day. I did that for about 25 days. You know, on the floor, on the leg, squirt. I know what it tastes like. Bang. I try to estimate that, so I squirt. You know, I walk by the refrigerator, bang, and come on. You know, you do it right. Take the spoon, okay? Half hour before you eat. The thing that's amazing about this is that it's not just the science that's going after the molecules. This actually will start to shift your cravings. When you sit down to eat a half hour later, your body's already feeling something. So when I sit down, I'm telling you, I eat through a meal. I don't want dessert. You don't want the sugar. Look, I want to get this clear. This is not a silver bullet. This is not a miracle. I'm not going to tell you take it today and don't do the work. It's going to work. You need to exercise. You need to modify your diet a little bit. And then once you take it religiously and you do it appropriately, you know, come on. Everything takes a little extra work, but this will work.
So let me talk about other options. Now, Safflower is one of them, right?
Yes, sir.
And it comes in a bottle like this.
Can I come with you?
Yeah, come on, please.
Okay.
Come on
I gotta get dressed.
I gotta dress you up.
He gets me undressing on his own. Well, you know, this is the only person that's ever got me to do that on television.
Are you kidding me? God bless you. Thank you very much.
I said that you got to do it.
I never buried my belly either before, so it's a first for both of us.
And it's pretty sharp, so wait till you see what happens once you start eating.
All right, so safflower is one way of getting it. All right, you can also get safflower oil, which is the fundamental element in this. It's been modified a little bit, but fundamentally safflower oil, you can get it in pill form.
Yes.
So you take it like this, it's 6.4 grams per day of linoleic acid. Now, this is not science fiction stuff. I just want to mention a couple of these words. But the safflower oil, at its essence, has a fat in it that is an omega-6 fat. It's different from the omega-3 fats I talk about all the time in the show, the oils that are in fish and the like, and walnuts. So good. So this is another way of getting it. You can also just take the safflower oil, folks, and use it in the food that you're making. Right? It's a polyunsaturated fat, an omega-6 fat, 7 to 10 grams. You can put it in the beans that you're cooking up. You can saute with it. You can put it in a salad dressing, which is a really smart way of getting it because that way you're not damaging the oil at all. Again, you want 7 to 10 grams of this stuff in order to get that key element that you need. Or another little tip that I want to throw out there, it's probably also equally effective to take sunflower seeds. Seeds have some of those key, you all clapping there, you like sunflower seeds?
Yes.
Right? So seeds, which are the source of life, right? They have that same linoleic acid in them, the same omega-6 fat. And so you have to take a little extra because it's not an oil, it's not as concentrated, but 3 teaspoons, not tablespoons, 3 teaspoons of sunflower seeds should get you there as well. It all makes sense?
Yes, sir. All makes sense.
So what I am fascinated about this, and the real reason we're doing this show, is I never recognized that there may be a way for you to lose belly fat without changing anything else. Now, I'll be clear on this. I want you to do the other things you talk about. I want the exercise, the smart eating. I want all that. But independent of that, if there's a way that we can trick our fat cells to give up that fat, to spew it out and lose it, especially in your belly area, I want to know about that. I wanted to share that with you. So, all right. So, now I'm gonna walk you over here. Sure. We got an animation. And this is an animation I worked really hard on because I think it explains what researchers think is happening. Right. So inside your belly, you've got some fat. A lot of us do anyway. And that fat lies along your organs. There it is, the omentum fat, and there are the intestines behind it. Get rid of that fat for a second. The food, as you digest it through your stomach, mixes with bile. Now, here's the thing. You can block fats from getting absorbed across the intestinal wall, but that's not how this works. That food then goes up the big vein into the liver, and the liver has to metabolize it to whatever it wants it to be. It turns it into fat that sometimes deposits here in the belly fat. The fat cells there can sometimes suck up nutrients, but theoretically what's happening here is these fat cells are giving up their fat. They're yielding their fat. They're spewing it out. Those molecules of fat are getting into the bloodstream, and the big question here, in my heart, in my mind, Montel, is what happened to that fat? Where did it go? What's going on that takes the fat out of join us? Come
sure,
and see. Dr. Martha Balleri conducted an independent study on safflower oil. Montel's product, and it was actually based on the research findings that came out of her laboratory. Now, I want to disclose to everybody that Dr. Balleri's university, Ohio State, received a $10,000 unrestricted grant from the company, but it was given after these studies were done. So we're all clear on that, right? All right. So, Dr. Balleri, thanks for joining us. But let me talk about specifically what was seen in these studies. The safflower oil, when it was taken in your studies, allowed people to get rid of belly fat, the fat that we're talking about today, the annoying fat, but nobody lost weight. So your total weight when you got on the scale stayed the same. So where did the fat go?
So we used a pretty sophisticated measurement of body composition in our studies, and we were able to show that while the women didn't lose body weight, their body fat, especially in their trunk region, was reduced by over a kilogram in 16 weeks. And these women were asked not to change other behaviors because we were specifically looking at dietary oils and their role in metabolism. And so what we found is the trunk fat was lost.
And I also noticed that you had these people seem to have more muscle mass.
And these women did accumulate about a half to a kilogram of muscle. And these are in postmenopausal women who also were obese and had type 2 diabetes. So these are women who we generally want to keep their muscle mass up. And we were very surprised by that finding. And we believe that something in the safflower, and we believe it's that omega-6 fatty acid, linoleic acid, has this beneficial effect to mobilize the fatty acids out of the visceral adipose tissue.
So it tricks the fat cells to giving up their fat.
It might trick them or boost the fat cells to get rid of some of the lipid that's stored there.
So I read your papers. I had the whole medical unit go through everything we could find on this. Then we decided, Montel, and no offense to you, that I would actually ask a couple of the experts who are often on the show to give me their advice. In fairness, I was a bit skeptical.
You have to.
It does seem a bit too good to be true. So, and to be clear, you know, these folks, I did not send them Montel's product. I didn't send them Safslin. I sent them the research that had been done by Dr. Balleri, and I also sent them a review that had been done by the American Heart Association, because I wanted to be clear about whether this was safe to do. So here's their thoughts and whether they thought that safflower oil could blast belly fat. Are you ready for the results?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm going to be blunt about this.
That's him.
David Katz at Yale. Dr. Katz is director of the Yale University Prevention Research Center. He said no. He did not think that safflower oil could help blast belly fat.
Okay.
I then asked Dr. Carolina Povian, director of nutrition and weight management at the Boston Medical Center, and she said yes, that it does blast belly fat. Then I went to my friend Dr. Roizen, who I spent a lot of time researching stuff with. He's the chief officer of the Wellness Institute at the Cleveland Clinic. He said no, he wouldn't bother.
Okay.
And finally, Dr. Russell Greenfield, who's been on the show a lot, is a clinical assistant professor at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, and he said maybe this could blast belly fat. He was intrigued by it. And in fact, he's joining us today. Great. Because I wanted to have one of the panel come. So, Dr. Greenfield, this is a split panel. And thank you for going through all the research that I sent to you. Why wasn't everybody on the same page with this? What is so complex about this process?
Well, as you mentioned, this is a complex question. And research is really hard, and it's easy to point out some questions about research methodology. You take a look at the data here, and they're very intriguing, compelling stories from Montel. It looks great, and we're all looking for ways to spot reduced fat, especially in the abdomen. When you look at the research, there are some challenges to interpreting the data. But beyond that, there are many, many questions about the impact of omega-6s in our diet. For a long time, omega-6s have been believed to be pro-inflammatory, to drive inflammation in the body, as compared to omega-3 fatty acids, which appear to decrease inflammation. So there's been all this talk about the balance. The problem is that both omega-6s and omega-3s are essential. We need them both. So we don't want to demonize omega-6s. We need to have them in our diet. But it's relatively easy to get them in the diet. We get them almost every day. It's very difficult to be deficient in omega-6s in the United States. It is, however, hard to get omega-3s into the diet. And that's why we often talk about the importance of getting omega-3s in here. Right. So if omega-6s are so easy to get into the diet, Why is it that we have so many people who are still overweight and have so much abdominal fat? So lots of reasons to question the results and using this type of agent.
One of the big arguments that was made by people, not just the folks I interviewed here, but the folks I spoke to around the country, was concerns about omega-3s and omega-6s. And I'll be real clear about this. You want to have a healthy balance between these fats. They're both good for you in the right amounts. All right, so here's my bottom line. I am not here to endorse Montel's product. But the question is, does safflower oil work? So here's what I did. I combined all the knowledge we had. I think our research report was about 30 pages long.
Wow.
I mean, you know, it was really a labor of love, though. I mean, I learned a lot about the field. Does safflower oil work? In my opinion, we have compelling data that seems to say yes, that it's doing something. And I am intrigued with it. So here's what I would do if I were you. I'm going to create a little hybrid scenario. I think folks ought to try it for 3 months. You can try it in any of the ways that I described earlier. I'm going to personally try it with sunflower seeds because I like the way they taste. It's easy for me to spit that up during my day. You can use safflower oil in salads. You can take Montel's Safflower product. You can do it any way you want to do it. I'm going to try it for 3 months. I'm going to keep taking my omega-3 fats that I always take anyway, so I maintain that ratio. And this is an important little caveat. If you can replace bad fats, trans fats and saturated fats, fats that come from things that have faces, you know, that walk on land, right? You replace those fats with this. I think across the board, there was a unanimous agreement that was a smart thing to do by all of my experts. Does that all make sense to y'all? Yeah. All right. And with that in mind, I think this is worth trying. This is a whole new way to think about dieting. It intrigues me. It fascinates me. And it makes me think, you know what? There can be a way of getting the biology of blubber tipped over, nudged over, to be able to support us. You can blast belly fat by in the same amount of calories. Imagine this. Just by subbing safflower oil, sunflower seeds, whatever, for those saturated fats or simple carbohydrates. That'll take all of us in the right direction. Montel, thanks for bringing it to my big. Thanks for bearing your soul. Dr. Brewer, congratulations on your research. Dr. Gupta for making the trip out as well. More cutting-edge solutions to blast belly fat next. Talking about cutting-edge solutions for the most annoying problems, especially as you age. Safflower oil is not the only supplement that may help you blast belly fat without diet or exercise. So listen up, because I've got 3 new fat-busting supplements to transform your body. And Carla's here to help me figure this out. Welcome to the show, Carla.
Thank you.
So what have you done to try to lose weight?
Well, I've exercised, I've done Pilates, I walk, I watch what I eat, but it gets very busy with the kids, and it's very difficult to... I need to do something else. If
you could just lose one part of your body's fat, what would it be?
Does this count? One part?
No, that one part. Just if you had to sort of pick one little area.
Probably this part, midsection.
Is that where your family carries your weight, usually?
That's where I carry my weight.
And that's the problem area, as you know, because that's a much more dangerous place to carry weight. So I've got 3 tips. All of these could be beneficial in that area. Again, I'm not over-promising here. You got to do some of the other smart things to talk about. But these are 3 supplements that have all been shown to help with getting fat cells in your body to cooperate and doing the right things for you. So the first one we'll talk about is something called calcium pyruvate. Have you ever heard that before?
I have not.
It's a weird name, right? You've heard of calcium.
Yes.
Talk about calcium all the time. And this time, it's not about the calcium. It's about the calcium helping the pyruvate get into your cells. Pyruvate's naturally occurring in the body. This just gives you a little extra of it. And it bursts fat, we think, by allowing this pyruvate to get into your cells, your fat cells, and get those fat cells to start burning the fat more effectively. And thus, they release the fat instead of storing it. Okay, so again, I'm trying to get the cells themselves to play ball with us, which is not what they're trying to do. And this is a smart way of starting that off. You want about 1,000 milligrams. You want to take it before meals.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to give you 3, then I'm going to give you my recommendations of which one's the best. Okay, come on over. The next fat-busting supplement is called Pitocin. Pitocin is a weird name. Have you ever seen these before?
Yes.
Yeah, right? They're the skins of shrimp, right? We usually discard them. But this has a little bit of calcium in it, and it also has something called Pitocin. Feel that? You know, it's crunchy, right?
Right.
So if you were to take that, grind that up, and put it into a pill, you'd have this. Okay. And Pitocin acts like a barrier in your intestines. Remember the animation I showed earlier? And I showed the fat coming from the stomach down to the intestines, mixing with the bile, getting absorbed through the wall? Yes. This blocks that from happening. If the fat never gets absorbed through the walls of your intestines, it can't go to your liver, can't get into your fat cells, can't be in your body. So a very simple thing. It's like a bouncer at a bar, right? It lets what it wants in. It keeps everything, and you know, all the riffraff has to stay out. So that's what you want to think about with Pitocin. It's smart, 1,000 milligrams, again, about a half an hour before a meal with a big glass of water to really wash it down. Okay? That's the second big tip. Coming over. The third one, and this is the last fat-busting supplement we'll talk to you about, is called gamma-linolenic acid. It's an omega-6 fatty acid. It's also called blackcurrant or evening primrose or borage seed oil. Interestingly, this seems to not only reduce inflammation, but it seems to also convince fat cells to get rid of their fat, very similar to the safflower oil. Except that, safflower oil you can really eat, that you want to take in a pill form. But, for some people, it might be a better way of going. I want to show you something. Look at this picture back here. There's 2 fat cells there, right? This one on the left is a very small, thin person's fat cell. Okay. And look at the big, bloated one on the right, right? That's what it looks like at the level of the cell. The things I'm talking about today affect those cells at that level. So this helps that big fat cell push out, and it helps reduce the flames of inflammation that make those fat cells angry and make them greedy for food, so they suck up the fat in our body. So it's a whole different way of thinking about fat. You want about 800 milligrams a day. So let me ask you, of all the 3, which one's appealing to you the most?
Can you use all 3 at once?
You could. You could use all 3 at once. But if you're going to choose just one, what would you choose? Tough to say.
I don't know the difference.
Can I give you some advice?
Yes.
I would start with this.
Okay.
You know why? It reduces inflammation. It's easy to take. You won't have side effects from it. And I would try this for a month and see if it's agreeing with you and if it's working for you.
I like that idea.
Fair enough. Again, these are available, all these in stores, house stores. Any questions?
I think I had a lot of questions before, but I think you answered a lot of them.
How do you like that? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Today is all about staying on the cutting edge. When I come back, I'm revealing the secret reason you constantly have to go. Coming up next.
It's a new year, and Dr. Oz is all new. Could this new supplement help you lose inches in just weeks?
Tricks the fat cells to giving up their fat. Is there a secret weapon here?
Is it a miracle or hype?
In fairness, I was a bit skeptical. Are you ready for the results?
Montel Williams swears by it.
This gave me that extra little boost.
How many inches did you lose? Be specific with me.
You decide.
This is a whole new way to think about dieting.
I'm Tabitha, and I just came off set with Dr. Oz, and I had a fantastic time. I think it went really well. I have met Dr. Oz a few times before. I've been lucky enough to be able to come on and do the show and give some hair tips. And every time I come to this show, Dr. Oz is just so kind and so courteous and so knowledgeable. He is such a pleasure to work with that I always have such a great time when I'm here. I have a 3-second rule that works really well for me. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but I stop and count to 3. And if I'm really stressed out or if I find myself getting really frustrated or angry over something, just taking that 3 seconds to kind of breathe and stop and think for a minute can often diffuse the situation for me. I also think it's really important as women and just people in general. We get so busy during the day and caught up in all the things that we do and taking care of other people, we sometimes forget to take a minute for ourselves. So whether it's sitting down and watching a favorite TV program, having a cup of tea, reading a book, flipping through a magazine, playing with your dog, I find it really important to do something that I really enjoy for myself every day, even if it's just for a few minutes, so that I can clear my head and re-energize myself to keep going. I think the number one misconception people sometimes have about hair health is that it has nothing to do with what you do internally to your body. Hair health isn't just about all the outside factors of over-colouring your hair or over-processing your hair or environmental things that can actually affect your hair's health. It's also about what you put in your body, so you need to ensure that you do eat properly, you do take the right supplements, you do exercise, and you do all of those things, and then you will have healthy hair as you will have healthy skin and a healthy body.